So, once again, we find ourselves where I'm going to be talking up an opponent, and you're going to be rolling your eyes, yeah, but I'm going to do it anyways. That's not criticism. Oklahoma's 13-0. I think they were ranked, they won the Battle for Atlantis. I think they were ranked 12th or 13th at one point. And of course, they started conference play and lost a few games, but they won 3 out of the last 4 in conference. And so if you look at who in our league has won 3 out of the last 4, Alabama, us, maybe just Oklahoma. Maybe there could be another one, I don't know. But I think they're coming in playing well. An outstanding offensive team. Fears is a great story. This summer, we were recruiting him. I got to know his dad a little bit. His brother went to Michigan State, and his dad always said that this one coming up was special. His older son's special too, also very special kid. This one, because Jeremiah's got a little bit more size and length. And so I'm watching him play last summer in Peach Jam. He played this past summer as a high school, going to be a senior. I mean, he was destroying everybody. And so, obviously we're recruiting him for the future, for next year, right? And next thing you know, he reclassifies and he's going to Oklahoma. It was reclass and going to Oklahoma. That thing was done deal. And wow, right? You talk about Oklahoma's roster turning around in a heartbeat. He is on the draft boards as potentially a top 10, 15 pick. And so he's different. Obviously, it's got to be the focal point of any scouting report. But 2 Alabama kids on this Oklahoma team, 2 starters. We offered and wanted Duke Miles, and he chose Oklahoma over us. And the young man that was at Georgia Tech that was Miles' teammate, leading scorer in our league, is a tough cover. He's a really, really tough cover. Jalen Moore, and really having a great year. Miles remembered him being a good player, great athlete, but has transferred to Oklahoma now and really developed. And again, a really tough cover. Undersized power forward. They're number 1 in 2-point percentage. They're number 1 in 3-point percentage. They're ranked in 3-point percentage. It's a really, really good offensive team, and Coach does a great job. I think he's very innovative. Porter Mosher is very innovative offensively. They shot 73% in the second half against Vanderbilt in their last game. So they're coming in hot, obviously offensively. So it may not have been one of those matchups that at the beginning of the season you would circle as a home game, matchup, a Tuesday night against Oklahoma. But they're 38 in the net. I was asked Marlene before how many teams came into Neville Arena last year with a 38 or better net.
Still researching.
Huh?
I'm still got
Still looking
research.
it up.
Okay. And so we know Alabama did. We play them every year. Kentucky, maybe. I don't think Ole Miss was. I'm just saying that this could be maybe this. If I can only think of 1 or 2 teams that came in last year with a better net than 38, it tells you, how great the league is. So. Questions?
Just pass it around, please. defensively in the second half at Ole Miss, they got going a little bit. Obviously, outscored them in the second half. Does anything stand out to you when y'all reviewed the film about the Ole Miss defense, where they just kind of get hot, especially with the guard that they had?
Well, I thought, obviously Padula did a fantastic job, and they did a great job of having him go down and attack, and I think they've got 3 dynamic guards that are all small, quick, and all can blow by you. Fears, Miles, and number 1, and those 3 guys are all really hard covers and all really hard to stay in front of. And so that's one of the things that Ole Miss definitely hurt us. This will be now again, having played Wednesday, Saturday, and now Tuesday. This is our 3rd game in 6 days. And so yesterday's practice was short, watched film, lifted. We were on the floor for 30 to 45 minutes, and that was it. And trying to get fresh, and hopefully the guys come in today. We typically don't go very hard the day before a game, but we're going to have to today.
Bruce, I wanted to ask about the practice facility plan sort of getting altered. They're going to do just renovations on Neville instead. I know you said previously NIL was a big focus for you even over the facility. I guess what were your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, grateful to the board and to our athletic director, John Cohen, for wanting to continue to upgrade this phenomenal facility. And so I'm grateful. Would any basketball coach like to have a standalone, state-of-the-art basketball facility? Of course, I'd be disingenuous if I said that we would love to have that. But when NIL came in at the same time that our new practice facility was approved, and I think it was even before John Cohen was the AD, I immediately looked at it and said, we've got plans to, we were in the process of just finishing up football's facility. We knew baseball renovation was coming. We knew that stadium had some things that were coming. And I just looked at it all at that time when NIL first came out and said, I just don't think we can do this right now. Or whether we should do this right now, because we're going to need to fund our student athletes in all sports. And I just didn't think it was fair the way NIL was set up, where so much of it was going to be on our donors and advertisers and people that wanted to participate in the NIL, to then ask them at the same time for a brand new state-of-the-art practice facility.
Right, we had 3 net 38. It was Alabama number 9, Kentucky 18, and Mississippi State 31 at home.
Thank you, Mike.
Bruce, after 2 rough shooting games, y'all kind of finally got back on track from deep. Was it kind of as simple as just hitting shots, or were y'all just kind of finally able to get back to the inside-out game?
I just thought the fact that Dylan Carwell once again dominated the offensive glass and just owned the backside. Janai mixed in so many great double teams with his ability to score and pass out of the post. Part of it was the way Ole Miss does a lot of switching, so they had there were times when our bigs were down against their guards and our guards were out in the perimeter against their bigs, and guards will tell you they just typically have more confidence shooting the ball against their big. Like, there were a couple times when our bigs, would be Cheney or Janai, or get taken out to the perimeter the way we guard, and then sometimes a guard will line them up, even though there's greater size. And the reason for that is, what are you going to drive those guys to the basket? We're going to get your stuff clobbered. So a shooter has more confidence pulling on a big, because what else am I going to do? And so we did that. Our guards made shots. Miles Kelly, Todd Pettifor, Chad Baker-Mazara, Denver Jones. That ball went in and out, and they were getting open looks, but they were making almost all of them. So, I think Coach Beard was correct in his assessment, evaluating the game, going, I'm not so sure Auburn has played better or shot it better all year. It took a tremendous shooting performance to win a game on the road against Ole Miss, and it's just, that's what it's going to take every night. like we have to have special to every night to win this in this league.
Bruce, you talked about Oklahoma's offense, but Porter Moser was known for his defense throughout his career. You obviously faced him when he was at Loyola. You see some of that kind of DNA still on defense, especially with the way they run people off the line?
I would say this, that the one thing that reminds me a little bit of Porter's teams, a little bit like Rick Barnes' teams, it doesn't matter what the score is, it doesn't matter what their record is, they're going to play hard. And they're going to play hard every possession. And that's a tribute to Porter Moser as a coach. They just don't take possessions off, they're not going to beat themselves. They just happen to have some really gifted offensive players. He is he's got a gifted offensive mind. And then defensively, they're just going to play hard. Schematically, they'll try to mix some things up with how they guard ball screens or what they do. And then they mix in some pressure, so they could use some full court pressure. But this Oklahoma team is defined by their offense.
Bruce, on paper, a rebounding advantage for you guys in this game based on what Oklahoma's done this season. Obviously, the last two games you guys have rebounded really well. How do you keep that rolling in this game?
Well, I'm sure all he's doing is going, look, if we don't keep Auburn off the offensive glass, we can't win. So, I mean, they're going to be checking out, putting bodies on us and doing everything they can to keep us off the glass. We have, and I think the other thing they're going to look to do is I think they'll look to run. Like, in other words, they're going to say, okay, if you want to send guys to the offensive glass and not send them back on defense, we're going to get it down the floor, we're going to go. You saw a little bit of it from Ole Miss, you did, but I'm sure Oklahoma, who's also elite in transition, will try to make us pay down the other end.
Bruce, back to the Neville Arena improvements. What are some things that they're going to do for your program that you're excited about?
I haven't seen everything that they're going to try to do, and I think since I don't know that much about it, I think I'll let the athletic administration talk about what they plan on doing.
Bruce, I want to ask you about Dylan, especially the free throw shooting he had at Ole Miss. It's something he talked about the other day. He's worked really, really hard on. What was it like seeing him kind of get that confidence going again on top of all that he did in that game?
Well, I think that Dylan is incredibly coachable, but one of the things we try not to coach him up too much on is his free throw stroke. He's had a couple of great free throw instructors that's worked with him, and Dylan works really hard at it himself, so he knows the mechanics and what he needs to do to shoot a good ball. And then it's just I think combination with Dylan is, he's worked so hard at it that you feel more confident. Like, I'm prepared. I've worked at this. These balls should go in because I've been in there paying the price. Then there's also the faith aspect with Dylan, in the sense that he's got such trust in the Lord that he leans on that trust a little bit. And he sort of felt that way going in. Look, Lord, I've worked at this. I put my time in this. I trust you. And together, he just went up there and had confidence. Look, he had a one-on-one, a bonus when we got to the seventh foul and they fouled him on an easy one underneath the basket. And he knocked them both down, and it was a one-possession game. Huge. And then, of course, they did a hack a Shaq on him at some point, and he made him pay for that too. So,
is there a long-term lesson to be learned from what Padula did the other night, or is it just kind of, he was obviously unconscious, he was playing a great game. Is there a lesson to be learned, things you can teach Denver and Chad about what we're going to do next time a kid attacks us that aggressively?
yes.
All right.
Yeah, no, there is. To answer that more specifically would simply be giving game plan away. It would simply be trying to give game plan away.
Well, a lot of times in those situations you talk about building a wall.
Yeah.
Is that kind of
it wasn't, like, one of the things I say in practice is, who's got the ball? And the kids know the answer to that is everybody's got the ball. That's who's got the ball? Everybody's got the ball. Well, we certainly didn't guard Padula like everybody had the ball.
BP, I was just curious about Tahad. Where do you think he's at halfway through, his first SEC campaign, playing a lot more point now? Where do you think he's at?
Well, I think that, again, He's playing a completely different position than what I recruited him for, because I recruited him to come in and be a scorer and not have to worry about breaking pressure, or not have to worry about putting the ball in his hands and late in the game and close it out like you would a point guard. But what you understand in coaching is that sometimes when guys are off the ball, Chad Bickerbazzara is a great example. Like, I really want the ball in Chad's hands, but I got to call something to get it in his hands because he's not the point guard. And Chad Bickerbazzara could very, very easily be our point guard, because I got to get it to him first for then him to make plays for himself and others. So it's hard to do that. So we decided to do that with Tahad. Just said, you know what, I'm not playing it to two. We're going to put the ball in your hands. And as a result, now offensively, he's way ahead of anybody's thought process as far as how effective he would be. And then defensively, just like all freshmen coming in, it's a huge adjustment. And he wants to be coached. He can make plays defensively. He's quick enough, he's strong. He's never had to work that hard to be that alert off the ball, to have to be in a place at all times. Like sometimes you just go back on defense and I got my man and let's get a stop and go down the other end. You have a place to be at all times defensively, and there aren't any freshmen in the country that come in having understood that or been coached that way.
Any more questions? All right, thanks guys.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.